this journey is really a relationship. It's relationship building. You are building a relationship with yourself, and you have to learn how to trust yourself. And the only way you can trust is by being honest. Think about any other relationship that you have in your life. An aspect of the trust has to do with how honest you feel this person is with you, as well as their intentions. And if you know that they tell you the truth, it makes it a little bit easier for you to trust them. So we need to look at the relationship that we are building with ourselves in the same exact way. What's up, guys? It's Michelle Brianna. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. If this is not your first time around the block, thank you for coming back. One of the biggest lessons that I had to learn throughout this journey was that I had to be honest with myself if I really wanted to grow and really wanted to heal. It does not benefit you to lie to yourself, because in lying to yourself, you're almost essentially saying that you can't trust yourself. Because if I can't tell myself the truth, how am I to trust my judgment around anything else that's happening around me, or anything else that I have to make a decision about or have an opinion about, when I can't even be honest to myself? In admitting the areas that we are not the strongest in, that is such a key and vital step on the journey to self-healing. Because we are putting the mirror up to ourselves and we're saying, hey, this is what I'm recognizing. This is what I'm seeing. This is the truth. This is the reality of how I've been interacting with other people, how I've been navigating this experience. And I am standing here right now and saying that the way that I have been going about doing things is not favorable. It is not beneficial for me. It is not in my best interest or anyone else's best interest. And that's really difficult to do. It's very hard to put the mirror up and really look at yourself and admit the areas where we're flawed. It takes a lot of courage to be able to do that, because it's so much easier to hide behind the excuses, to hide behind our defense mechanisms. It is so much easier to do that, and it is very difficult to take the step to actually be honest with ourselves. So if you really want to progress in your self-healing journey, one of the first things you're going to need to do is be honest with yourself. Like, get very, very real with yourself. Really put up that mirror and really look at the different facets and areas of your life. Look at how you navigate your relationships. Look at the way you show up in those relationships. Look at the way you show up at work. Look at the way you show up as a daughter, a brother, whatever role you play in the family. Look at how you show up in that, and look at how you show up for yourself. Do you put yourself first? Do you choose everyone else before you? What are your priorities? What are the things that you need? What are the things that you like? What are the things that you don't like? These are the questions that really make who it is that we are. And when we're able to really get deep with that and really be honest with ourselves about it, there's so much healing that can come from that. When you ask yourself a question like, how do I show up in the relationships in my life? And really sit with that, and not give yourself a surface level answer of, oh, I'm such a good friend and I'm such a good this, I'm such a good that. No, I want you to really go deeper with that. How do you show up in the relationships in your life? And you will have to look at the various different relationships, because you will have to assess them. No two relationships are the same. And therefore you will not and do not interact with any two relationships in your life in the same way. And when you can put that mirror up and really start to look at the different relationships in your life, the different roles that you play and how you show up for those things, there's a lot of nuggets that you can pull from that. There's a lot of breadcrumbs that life leaves you and leaves us for us to start to put the picture together. Because you may have one relationship where you show up fully. Anytime they need you, you're there, you drop anything you're doing, and you are the go-to person for this person. But then you may have another relationship in your life where that person calls you, you're a little less responsive, you don't feel as though you have to put in as much effort, and therefore the dynamic of that relationship is different than the first. That's something to look at. That's something to go a little deeper with, because what is it about this person, about the intricacies of this relationship that make me want to show up fully in 100% of who I am versus this other relationship that you have over here where you're not fully 100% in it? Is there something about this relationship over here that makes you feel as though you have to prove something? And is that the reason why you overextend yourself and are overly available to this person over here? Versus this relationship over here, do you feel as though that person is not worthy of your time? And if that is the answer, that's something to dig into. Why do you feel that way? Why do you feel that this person is undeserving of having more of you? And these are the things that we have to start asking ourselves to really look at our relationships, to really start to frame them and really start to be honest with ourselves about what is actually going on here. What is actually going on with me? Why are different responses prompted from me depending on the people, depending on the situation? And the only way that you can do that is by really getting really real with yourself. That is the only way to really continue on and navigate through this journey. You will continuously have to check yourself, continuously. And that may include having to face some really hard truths about yourself. I recently had to sit with my procrastination in particular. And I've always noticed about myself that I am someone who procrastinates. When it's something big or whatever it is, I put it off. I definitely procrastinate. And I'm in a new space and I'm transitioning in a lot of ways. And one of the things that I really don't have space for in this transition is procrastination. Because what it is that I'm leaning toward is going to require me to be the person to lead it. And if I do not do that, then it's not going to happen. So when that procrastination started coming in, I really had to look at it, because I recognized that this habit of procrastination, because that's really what it was for me. It was a habit. It was something that I kind of convinced myself that I'm a procrastinator. I work better under pressure. And for some people, that really is the truth. That is the truth for them, that there is something about having that pressure that really does elicit better responses out of them. And that really is not it for me. And that's something that I have to know about myself. And that's something that I've learned about myself, that my procrastination and my explanation for the procrastination was really just a lie. I had convinced myself that I procrastinated because I work better under pressure. The procrastination in reality was a symptom of my fear. So when I would get this urge to kind of put it off, in reality what was happening is I was being avoidant because I was fearful of whatever this thing was that I was doing. Whatever it was that I was getting ready to do or produce, there was fear involved in there, and the fear triggered my avoidant response. And now I'm procrastinating because I'm actually afraid. That's actually what was going on. After I took time to really dig deeper into that, because I recognized the commonality. I recognized that the procrastination was not something that I did all the time. This was not a normal, regular way of being for me. This was something that came up specifically when I had something big that was coming up, something big that put me in the forefront, or something where I had to produce a product or produce something. It was always something like that. That is when the procrastination really would come, and I would sit down to do whatever the thing was, and I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't feel like it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. And then I back myself up against the wall because now I'm running out of time and I have to produce whatever the thing is. So I always end up doing it, but there's so much added stress and anxiety that comes with it because I waited. I took too long to do whatever the thing was that I was supposed to do, and now I'm stressed out. So now the whole entire process is just feeling chaotic for me. I'm feeling all over the place, and I'm really not allowing myself to be present in the process, to really enjoy the process through whatever it is that I am trying to produce. And I had to really sit with that. And after sitting with it, I realized that in all of these instances, and this is another thing that's important, is being able to really reflect back and recognize the patterns. Because when you recognize the patterns, you start to tie things together and you can see them differently. And that was what I did. I was able to look at this behavior that I was doing very habitually and go a little deeper with it to see, Michelle, what's really going on here? Because you only do this when it's something big, where it's something that your name is really on like the forefront and you really have to show up and stand in this. That is when you do this. What is beneath that? And in going deeper in it, I realized that it really was fear. And I was acting out of fear. That was my response. Had I not been honest with myself and just continued to allow myself to think that this behavior of procrastination was just me and this is just what I do and whatever, I'd continuously be stressing myself out and not be able to fully give all of me and be fully present while I'm creating or producing whatever it is that I'm trying to bring forth. But because I'm aware of it now, this is something that I have to push through because it still comes up. It comes up for me. There's a lot of things right now in my life that are changing, and there's a lot that I personally am doing. There's a lot that's shifting for me at my job, and it's requiring me to be in a different role and to step up in a way that feels uncomfortable for me. If I'm just being honest, it feels very uncomfortable because I'm not used to being in a role like this. And I recognized and started recognizing that I was feeling that feeling again of like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I'll do it tomorrow. And again, the awareness of it, because I was aware that these thoughts were starting to ruminate in my mind, and I had to stop myself and say, okay, Michelle, what's really going on here? And I sat with that and really journaled about it to really get my thoughts out about what it was that was actually going on in here. And what was going on in here was fear. There was fear around what this new role meant, what this new direction means. All of those things, that's what was coming up for me. All of this stuff was what was coming up. And being able to really first get honest with myself in the first place, to even recognize that this is something that I need to change. This is a habit that I no longer want to continue. In order to change a behavior, we first have to be aware of it. And we have to recognize that whatever this thing is that we're doing is not beneficial to us, and that it's not something we want to continue to do. And you can only do that through honesty. You have to be honest with yourself. So if you are walking this journey and you are finding that your answers are staying kind of on the surface, I'm really encouraging you to go a little bit deeper. Keep asking yourself why. Why is just the big question. Keep questioning yourself until you get to the root. And you will know when you get to the root. I promise and guarantee that you will recognize when you hit it. Because when you hit it, it's going to be, oh, damn. Like, I promise you, you are going to know when you've gotten to the root of whatever that thing is. So I'm really encouraging you to just start questioning everything. Start questioning everything about yourself so that you can get really, really honest with yourself. Because that's something you are going to have to continuously do throughout this journey. It's going to keep coming up. Things are going to keep coming. Things are going to keep triggering you, keep testing you. And the only way for you to really be able to navigate through that and really deal with these things that are coming up is if you get honest with yourself. And if you are not able to do that, it is going to be difficult to really get to the healing, because we must be honest in order to heal. The healing comes from really looking at ourselves, really putting up that mirror and checking ourselves. And that's invaluable on this journey. You will continuously have to do that. Continuously have to check yourself, continuously have to be honest with yourself. So the more you start to do it and the more practice you get with it, the easier it starts to get, and it just kind of becomes a thing. This journey is really a relationship. It's relationship building. You are building a relationship with yourself, and you have to learn how to trust yourself. And the only way you can trust is by being honest. Think about any other relationship that you have in your life. An aspect of the trust has to do with how honest you feel this person is with you, as well as their intentions. And if you know that they tell you the truth, it makes it a little bit easier for you to trust them. So we need to look at the relationship that we are building with ourselves in the same exact way. So as you continue on your journey towards self-discovery and self-love, keep this one nugget in mind, that honesty is going to get you a long way. It's going to really get you far, and it's going to be a really foundational skill and tool that you can always use as you continue on your path and on your journey towards self-love and self-discovery and really building a relationship with yourself. Thank you for watching. See you next time.